Karl Heinz Daube. Did I say your last names correctly?
Yeah.
Heinz Daube. Thank you so much.
It's much easier.
Thank you so much for taking the time and for sharing some of your experiences and thoughts around the COVID-19. It's affecting all of us all over the planet. Interestingly, we don't know if this is gonna really go away or if it's gonna linger. So there's a lot of anxiety and reflection as we move into our spaces. What's interesting, it's all over the place. So why don't we start, Karl, with just so that we get to know a little bit about you and your context. Where are you? What's your training? What kind of school and university you work for, and just your context.
Okay, so let me give you some insight in my CV. I was born in 1960, so I've quite some life experience, and I started my career in the bank. I studied business administration, financial management at the University of Hamburg, and was there working as a research fellow for going for my PhD in finance. This was in the late 80s, early 90s of the last century. Then I went back to the financial industry. I had several senior management positions. I was head of institutional sales. I was global head of liquidity management. So I was also some kind of international experience. And I was always in the capital market area in the broadest sense. Now, the greatest challenge of my life was in 2008 when I was appointed the managing director of the German debt management office. So at that time, I was for 5 years, the treasurer of the German Ministry of Finance. Now, 2008 might click something. It was the financial crisis.
Oh, yeah.
So at that time, I was there until 2013. So I was involved in the whole issue of the financial crisis. So this is, for me particularly now, this time is interesting because it's like a déjà vu.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately. It was different at that time. So, and at that time, I had to, also at that time, our government decided to increase the budget.
Mm-hmm.
There was these programs, cash for clunkers, and all these issues to stimulate our economy. In addition, I was appointed in late 2008 as a member of the supervisory board to the German Financial Stability Fund. We created at that time a special entity which was responsible to stabilize or to downwind some financial institutions in Germany. I was one of the 3 advisory members. The other guy was at that time Axel Weber, who was the head at that time of the German Central Bank, and Günter Bräunig, who's now the chief executive officer of KfW. Wow. So I was very close to the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Economics, Justice. So we have a lot of meetings. Had a very deep insight at the border between economics and business and politics. It's not the end. So in 2010, when in Europe a number of countries get in troubled water, Greece already was, but then Spain, Portugal, Cyprus, Ireland, Italy always close to the border, to this one. The European communities set up the EFSF, the European Financial Stability Facility. So I was involved in, quotes, rescuing Europe. And then, today's the discussion again about the ESM, the European Stability Mechanism, which was then set up in 2010, 12. And I also supported Klaus Regling by setting up this thing. So, and then basically for a couple of years, I had 3 jobs. So the head of the DMO, the advisor to the ministries about the stabilizing the financial industry, and to support the Europe program. And the ESM now is again in discussion about supporting Italy, Spain, and so on. wow. And after that, I thought, well, what's next? So I said, okay, there is not much to do now. The financial crisis is not over, but it's there was less to do, and the financial institutions were more or less stabilized. So I did something completely different. I worked as a consultant by myself for small and mid-cap industries throughout Germany. It was a complete different kind of animal, but most interesting how the way of thinking of these smaller family-owned businesses. At the same time, I was invited by some universities around the area where I live. I'm living close to Hamburg, which is in the north of Germany, and invited me. Oh well, what don't you think? Could you imagine holding some lectures about treasury, about liquidity, about capital markets? So that's the reason why finally, about 4 years ago, I was appointed professor of finance at the NBS, Northern Business School. It's a University of Applied Science. The NBS, the Northern Business School, is one of the about 20 private universities we have in this area. And we are focusing on business administration with a number of subjects where you can specialize in, so tourism, financial management, human resources, and the typical issues. In addition, we offer social management, and we have another thing which is not completely unique, but you don't find it very often. We have security management. So this is not only cybersecurity, but everything about security management about a huge company. So we offer bachelor and master degrees. And last year, I was elected by the other professors to be the vice president of the university, being responsible for all research activities.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
So this is
Wow.
So maybe it's not a classic CV.
No, it is not.
It's not.
But it's quite interesting because it's very well connected. So your students are fortunate because it's not just the books. It's the actually being out there. It's a private or a public university?
It's a private university.
Okay.
It's 100% private university, so we get no funds from the government. We have to only survive by the fees the students pay.
So what's the socioeconomic context of the families of your students? Is this upper class, middle class?
I would say it's mixed. Of course, due to the fact that you have to pay, I would suggest that there are quite a number who are more, what I say in the broad sense, middle class or upper class. And there's quite something like between 30 and 40% with migration background, but not migration background in the sense that they arrived just a couple of years ago, but the families arrived many years ago in Germany. So now it's the second or even the third generation.
I see.
So, and they, they are integrated here. They speak fluent German, so you only recognize it by their names that they are not from here. But so there are quite a number, and yes, so they do pretty well. That's fine.
Fantastic. So how was your transition from the world out there to the classroom? Are you enjoying the teaching and the change?
Yeah, this is a funny thing. One of my personal beliefs is that life is some kind of cycle. And the cycle, sooner or later, has to be closed. And I started my career within the university and the academic work. And now I always enjoy doing research. I enjoy doing lectures. At Hamburg University, I did absolutely not enjoy all this administrative stuff.
Don't blame you.
You know what I mean. So now it's very nice. We are a small university because we have something like 30 professors and about 60 freelancers lecturers. We have about 1,200 students.
Oh, it's a small, yes.
It's very small. It's very familiar, and it's very nice. We have small classes.
Mm-hmm.
There is a very, very personal link between the students and the professors, so they can ask questions anytime, also before or after the lectures, or between lectures for the next week, send an email or whatever. So it's very open, and they are very nice students. And as I mentioned, now I feel happy doing this now for 4 years. I'm also a partner of a consultancy company, so I'm doing something else in addition. So I'm with MGRP. This is a young consultancy company, exists for a couple of years. We are focusing on consulting in the sense of in the issues of digital transformation, insourcing, outsourcing, and foresight management and project management, all these things. So
that sounds like you have 2 or 3 full-time jobs, Carl.
In a way.
So COVID comes to place, and I think the response of your government was quite swift and immediate, right?
Yes. So they were very, very fast, maybe not fast enough, because at the very beginning, we all did not know what it really was.
Yeah.
So today I read that the virus was already in France end of last year. But, well, like in Italy at the beginning, you think it's just a kind of influenza, you don't know the specific issues. So, but when they knew that is something very tricky, immediately they took measures. So they locked down a lot of things, so we had no contacts. Not like in Italy or Spain, where you had to stay in your house. We were not allowed to go out. We were allowed to go out. There were some areas, of course, where we are not allowed because there were some kind of hot spots. Our government was a little bit too late in certain areas. Maybe, in early February, we have this carnival sessions here in Germany, and where you disguise and camouflage and all these things. And in the area of North Rhine-Westphalia, so Cologne, Düsseldorf, and this area, it's very, very famous to do this activities. Here in the north, nobody cares. But at that place, and this, one of the hot spots later was there because there was a particular session, and they were all, well, if you are drunk for a couple of days, you know what might happen. And this is the same is true for some places in Bavaria where they had some kinds of beer festivals, and they took place, and this was then another hot spot. Like in Austria, where there's the ski area where they all were infected, and another hot spot. So, which then came to Germany, by the way. Now, but anyhow, the measures taken by our government basically were 2 things. First of all, they shut down, and at the same second, they said, okay, we take care about those who are not able to work. So we have something particular if you are not allowed to work because we have the company has some kind of shutdown, then the government is paying 60-70% of your salary.
Oh, wow.
Because otherwise, the company would say, okay, fire, go away. Just to circumvent this issue, we have a program, and this was introduced many years ago, that they say, okay, you are still with the company. You don't have to move. When everything is up and running again, then immediately you can come back. And then the company is paying you. So that's to circumvent, then these guys are unemployed. And might go to somewhere else to keep the knowledge, to keep the know-how, to keep them close to the company. So this was implemented immediately, and there was a huge amount available for these measures. And then within a very short time, they said, well, even for self-employed people, for very, very small business, just to generate some liquidity for you, there is, in the internet, there is a PDF, you just fill in, you sign it and send it back.
And it go.
We transfer 9,000 euros within the next 2 days on your account.
Interesting.
So very unbureaucratic. These payments, you don't have to pay them back. They are just for you.
Oh, okay.
Interestingly enough, you have to pay taxes on this. So if it's 9,000 euros, after tax is 4,500 euros. But anyhow,
yeah,
it's
because
just,
you're receiving a salary, right? So
yeah, it's just for the smaller and smallest companies or
Mhm.
mid-sized companies to give them some kind of liquidity so that they can survive the next weeks,
So
month, something like this.
in the microcosm of your own school, how did it pan out at different levels, not just the maintenance of the employment, but your relationship with the students, the classes? How did the COVID impacted your practice? Did you have to stop teaching altogether from one day to the next?
And we were in the lucky position that, like all universities around Germany, that in February we all have holidays. It's between the winter semester and the summer semester. And we were going to start around 15th of March. And of course, we knew that there was something going on. And then we came together and we set up a task force, of course, with me and some other guys. And we said, okay, obviously, we can't do any classic lectures in room. So the students can't come here. We are not allowed to stay together. So we said, okay, what can we do? So we decided we try to do online lectures. And our IT department, within 1 week, and congratulations to this wonderful team, within 1 week, they set up the complete infrastructure using Microsoft Teams, complete infrastructures that all classes could start in point as on the schedule for the semester, but just online. So they set up Teams with all the classes and they can log in. And we did it right from the beginning. Of course, it's a different kind of animal if you do online lectures. You have no whiteboard. You can't write anything.
Exactly.
I'm used to showing sometimes video clips or something like this.
Yeah.
This doesn't work so nice. So I invite the students to look at this later on. Anyhow, all scripts, all exercises, additional material is always online available for our students. This was also the case in the past. We have a network called Moodle where everything is available for students.
Yeah.
So they could always download the material, whatever they need. So now, well, we do it more or less in the same style, but I experienced that it's more challenging if you have 20, 25 students, you don't see them, you don't hear them. So how we do it, we share the presentation of the material, we talk about this, and aside I have my mobile phone and there is a chat function. And then I invite the students, if there's any question, anything, just send me. I'm always doing like this, looking whether there's something. And they ask questions or reminds me slower, faster, whatever. And then I can say, okay, Mr. Whatever, please step in and share your idea, your question with all of us. And that's what they do. So therefore it works quite well. And of course, I'm focusing more on exercises. Then I say, okay, this is a small case study. Now it's half an hour time for you, each by yourself. Help yourself with a coffee at home. And then we meet again on this platform and we try to share the results and discuss it.
And what is your sense, Carl, as to how the students are perceiving the quality of the experience? Are you sensing that they are a little bit on a disappointing side because it's not what they are used to, or are they energized because it's just a different way of doing things?
Well, first and above all, they were happy that we started in time, so they don't lose time, because other universities, my eldest daughter is at a public university, she lost 3 or 4 weeks because they try to organize themselves. And now they have some kind of online tools and get a lot of material. So our students overall were very happy that they could start as they started. And it's in a way the same style as we used to do it. And one tricky thing was they had to write some exams, and as they could not meet, we said, okay, we decided instead of having a written kind of test or exam, you might write a small thesis. Well, okay, this. So the good news for all our students was no delay, and we interact with the students via a chat function, via email, and so on. So this is quite well received, and particularly with my master students, which is only a small class, just maybe 7 or 6. So we have always our microphones on, we have the cameras on, so we can interact like we do right now.
Yeah.
But they are more advanced. Also, they say, okay, it's great, it's perfect, we can do. And they do their presentations online as well. So they are familiarized with this technical tool. So then they share with all of us our presentation, their presentation. And what I learned from my colleagues as well is that it works pretty well. And the whole academic team accepted immediately to do this online. And also the lecturers, but only 2 said, no, please, I don't want. But basically next to 100% said, okay, I start immediately, let's have a try. We had some introductory lectures, how to use Microsoft Teams.
Yeah.
Well, it went perfectly. And
so,
the good news, in addition, if I just add one thing, each lecture is recorded. So for those who cannot participate, later on they can have a look at the lecture, what happened. So
it's both synchronous and asynchronous, and it brings flexibility, right, to the students.
So it's not perfect, but for the time being, under the circumstances. And then a couple of weeks ago, we decided, because we did not know what's going to happen, we decided, okay, to have a clear focus and a clear strategy, we do online lectures until June, July, the end of the semester, so that everybody knows what's the matter. We are having the classical exam then, because we have space and can have a lot of distance in the classrooms for the written exams, but online lectures until the end of the semester.
So are your faculty feeling that this is a double burden, like they have an increase in their load, or are they functioning well? Are they, in terms of the faculty perspective, how are they?
Yes, I think they're all fine. It's something kind of different now, because we have, well, like me and a lot of colleagues have now more papers to have a look at, more assignments, and also to advise the students what to do. But okay, it doesn't matter. Maybe there's a little bit less time for research activities. Because sometimes it's, of course, I did some papers at the beginning of the semester about this coronavirus and the stock market crash in early March. And we, in addition, because we have a very close link to the local businesses, so we did some webinars for free on security management, on risk management, on liquidity management, what I did. So we invited a number of CFOs or whatever from the local companies around Hamburg. And I said, okay, if you want, at that time, we give you some practical insight and some advices what you can do now to manage your liquidity. So just hands-on, not academic stuff, just give them help.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Quite a challenging time, but it seems like your institution is adapting quite well. How do you feel about the fall semester? Do you think things are going to come back to a normal, or you have a feeling that this might linger a little longer while we get vaccine?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question, because today our government decided that we are doing some steps back to a normal life in the broadest sense. So now, in the next days, more or less all shops are going to open again. So far, only shops with a certain size were allowed to open. Now every shop can open, and in some areas also restaurants and some bars might open again if they, I don't know the details, they have to keep the distance, so less people inside, and you have to do a reservation before you come, and so on. So it may be not so nice and so spontaneously as before. And so far we were only allowed to meet one person, which does not belong to the same household. Now it's 5 or 10, so you can meet with more people in public places. And of course, the number of factories are up and running again now at the coastline, so at the Baltic Sea and at the North Sea. The beaches are going to be open again, and the first hotels and private houses and so on are going to open again as well. They have just with 50% of the capacity. I'm not sure whether I'm reporting all the details correctly. But this is now the way how it's going on. And what they did in addition, they say, okay, there are regional differences. So there are hotspots, and no, the responsibility for how to go on is basically within our 16 federal states and the 16 local governments. Like you have 50 local governments.
Exactly.
And the rule is, or what I understood is, if the rate of new infected people goes up again, up to a certain level, then immediately shut down everything again.
Let me bring you back to to the sort of the pedagogical arena, and we need to bring this to a close, unfortunately, because I'm really enjoying the conversation and learning so much about what's going on in Germany now. But I'm wondering if you're seeing some opportunities here in the midst of all these critical issues that are happening. As an educator, are there efficiencies to be gained out of this experience? Are there things that we can change for good instead of trying to go back to the way we were doing things before? How do you feel about the scenario in terms of a scenario of opportunity pedagogically?
Okay, thanks for this question, because I think a crisis is always a wonderful chance. Now, first of all, if I look at our academic work, now we have been thinking whether we could provide online lectures, because we have part-time students which work, and then on Friday, on Saturday they come. Maybe now we are going to do a lot of more online lectures with them, so they do not have to come, they don't have to travel. I would be happy, because I save a lot of time not driving to the university. So maybe we can change it to keep it so the style of teaching will be different. And now we have the empirical proof that it works. So I'm very interested in the evaluation of the students. At the end of the semester, the students always have to evaluate us and see how the lectures work. So I'm very curious to see the results. In addition, for me, this crisis or coronavirus is some kind of accelerator. If I'm taking a broader view at the economy, so home office in Germany was always a critical issue. They said, it would be nice, but we do not allow. Now they see, oh, wonderful, home office works, sometimes more efficient than staying in your company, because you're not always chatting with your colleagues and having a coffee or something like this. You're concentrating. It's nice for the environment, because much less pollution, because you don't drive.
That's right.
Sorry. And for my consultancy, I can tell you that a lot of business are now thinking about restructure their organization, thinking about their design. If I have 100 employees, do I really need 100 working places, office space, or maybe 50 is enough? So we change. Every 2 days, somebody else comes. So, and we see that even top management meetings, it's possible doing online. If you know each other, well, even though we never meet before, but we can do it this way. So this is a great opportunity to be more efficient and also from an environmental perspective, less traveling for stupid meetings, by the way. And so this could be a very good thing. And there will be, the digitization will grow much faster, at least in Germany. But I could imagine also in other places, because all learn, oh, well, wonderful, it works. So this also puts pressure on the government to improve the fiber networks, so that the internet is faster and faster and faster, and all these things. So these are the positive aspects. So work-life might change, work-life balance as well might change to the positive. So you can stay more at home, work from home, and you have maybe less traveling, less car, less pollution, and more efficiency. And this is a wonderful chance, particularly for the management level, to rethink what they have been doing so far. So once upon a sudden they realize, oh, things are possible which we have never imagined, or which we were reluctant to get up and running.
Yeah.
So there's a chance.
There's a chance. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to bring the conversation to a close, but I really like the fact that we finished the conversation on this note, the note that we're going to be forced by the facts on the ground to resort to what we do the best as a species, that is to imagine a different future and to transform our ways of doing things so that we can remain and stay healthy and stay sound as communities and as individuals. So thank you for that. Thank you for your wisdom, for your information, for your perspective. And I look forward to continue our conversations later on as opportunity arises.
I would appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl.